Seeing as I just realized today that I did not do a Goetia Whisperers in depth for King Paimon, I'm going to do just that. But I'm going to do something very special for him. I'm going to do the Goetia Whisperers video in the beginning. Okay, that segment's going to be in the beginning. So if you want to check that information out and then dip, it's perfectly fine with me. But those of you who are very serious about connecting with King Paimon, I have a special treat for you. I'm going to talk about my experiences with him and introduce you to some of the powerful fucking things that he teaches some of his students. I do have his permission. It's not going to be anything that's extremely overwhelming or overly extravagant or consumed by ego. It's going to be extremely authentic and real experience. Paimon is number 9 in the Goetia. He rules over 200 legions of demons. Paimon has the ability to connect with your ancestry for some reason on a very deep level. That was creepy at first, but it was very empowering in the end. Those 200 legions of demons are a mystery when it comes to, just who they are, because there's so many. When you think of 200 legions, that means there are multiple armies with multiple ranks. That means that there are Goetia that are under King Paimon. You think about that for a second. When working with King Paimon, the colors that you can use to connect with him are black, blue like this. You can use blue like this. He's asked me for blue like that before. Yellow, even gold wrapped with paper, candles, that's fine for the aesthetic. He likes things like that. You can really do it big when you're working with him. He likes stuff like that. Green and red. Those are the 5 colors. But black will do just fine. Black will do just fine. If you want to give him an offering of an incense, you can give him frankincense. Frankincense will do. He loves frankincense. It's perfectly fine. If you want to find anything else, then you can go onto the internet or go onto someone's website or blog that has connected with him, or go onto YouTube and find a video pertaining to other, kind of offerings that you can give him pertaining to incense. I'm just saying frankincense because I want to keep it simple for those that want to actually work with him and connect with him. Because I'm so closely connected with him, that's how I'm going about doing this video. Don't get too caught up in the details because you'll get in your own way. Metals that you can give him: gold, silver. There's times where he's even asked for copper. Copper is a good conductor of electricity, so that might be the reason. He loves to mess with the electric currents and can teach you mastery of energetic manipulation. Paimon is strongly connected to the sun, the black sun, and Neptune. He is dineural, so you can work with him in the day and the nighttime. Do not sleep on the fact that he is a day demon. Do not sleep on the fact that you can work with him in the day. Be warned, there are so many different possibilities of his manifestation to you and your experience with him. Okay? I've never experienced him having a loud, raging, and booming voice, ever. I've only experienced Paimon walking up to me in a very fancy, really nice silken robe with a mask over his face, with pale white skin and green eyes. That's what he looked like. The other times that he showed himself to me, he had fire in his eyes. Yes, he did wear the extravagant crown sometimes, but it wasn't all the time. He has very feminine features, which is interesting. When you work with him, it's very interesting to see how he starts to act towards you as you get closer to him. You can face the west when you want to connect with him. You can face the north when you want to connect with him. That element in the north would be the air, and the element to the west would be water. His primary element would be water. That is his strongest connection. You can also give him offerings of water. If you wanted to give him any kinds of offerings, get creative in your pursuits when you're decorating his altar. You don't have to give him real gold. It can be gold plated. That's perfectly fine. He's very understanding of your budget, but I can guarantee you, working with him, you will learn to live, feast, walk, breathe, and present yourself as a king or a queen. It is his way. It makes a big difference when you're working with someone who is a knight compared to someone who is a king, because that level of power is not limited when working with a king. Understand that it can be slightly dangerous working with Paimon, because you will be facing fears in your dream state, but also in your waking life. I'll tell you a story about things that I've experienced working with him as well, when it comes to facing fears in your waking life. Some crazy shit, if I may add. Now, when working with Paimon, he can teach you anything pertaining to the angels, anything pertaining to enemies who might be trying to attack you, people who are plotting on you, people who are talking behind your back, people who are glamored, hiding, people who have casted things onto you that are trying to hide their work. He can identify whether someone has casted something onto you, remove parasites, cause poltergeists, cause hauntings. There's 200 legions. That means there are a variety of different energies that are within those armies. Paimon can teach you to become a great leader, a great speaker, can teach you how to skyrocket social media platforms if that's something that you are pursuing. He can help you find great amounts of cash and different treasures that might not be money. He is an excellent guide for walking in the other worlds and will protect you and have your back if you are loyal to him. Now, I'll have the sigil flashing on the video right here, okay? I will have the sigil flashing right there to show you what his sigil looks like, but I also want to bring a lot of his energy into this video, because this will be a call to those that want to work with the great King Paimon. Now, one more thing before I get into information about working with him and my experiences. Mine knows this. King Paimon strongly does connect to the number 9, the number 8, the number 1, the number 7. Those are the main numbers. But the number 9, the number 8, and the number 1 were the strongest connection in my experience with him. There's also the number 6 that you can utilize as well. Now, I want to go into my experience working with the great King Paimon. I want to talk about how he started to change me since the first day I called on to him. See, when I first connected with King Paimon, I was kneeling to him. And he told me, if you want to walk with me, you stand as a king. You will stand as an equal to me. You will shadow me. And I will show you how to live as a king. I will show you how to speak as a king. I will show you how to command legions as a king shall do. One of the first things he started teaching me is working with familiars and using familiars to manipulate the mind state of people who might be around me, using the eyes of the familiars to see into areas that they are traveling, connecting with them on a deeper level. At the same time, this honed my telepathic ability as well. Paimon will help you to reach further into those fears that you might have and completely destroy them, for they will be obstacles and complete weaknesses that can hinder you, that can make you stagnant. That is how King Paimon views fears within those that walk with him. They're pointless. One day, I was at a reptile expo, and Jupiter and I were walking up to this area that she's been to before. She was very familiar with it. I was being introduced to it for the first time. See, we were wanting to take pictures, right, with reptiles and snakes and, and the whole 9 yards. See, what I didn't think was going to happen was me facing my fear of arachnids on this day, because I started getting egged on to put a tarantula on my face. So then I put a tarantula on my face. Then the guy who runs the entire expo put a black scorpion on my face, about that big, right here. And the scorpion was just walking around, interacting with the tarantulas. In my head, I'm thinking, don't move, don't try anything. You might get stung, and if I get stung, what the fuck can I do? And that's exactly what I kept in my head. What can you do? You can do absolutely nothing in that moment but surrender. And that's exactly what I did. They took videos. People around me were taking pictures of me. Feeling a tarantula walk on your face feels like needles. Tiny needles gripping your skin. Just imagine that. Imagine that walking on your nose. Imagine that walking over your eye. Think about that for a second. And I had 2 tarantulas on me. A snake here, a hedgehog in my hand. I had a lizard on my leg. And they were taking pictures of me, and people were taking videos of me. Because the tarantula's hairs were so sharp, my face started twitching. I'll put the video on here. I will add the video. I'll add the video at the end of this to show you. Before I had that experience, Paimon showed up to me in my dream as a scorpion and ate me. He ate me. There were scenarios that I was put in these dreams sometimes that were very questionable. Things that he asked me to do were not normal, in regards to someone who thinks on a very mundane level. But they could be things that were considered normal in mundane time, in more medieval times, for sure. But in these dreams, I was proving myself to him, surpassing limitations, crushing obstacles, destroying enemies, rendering them completely useless in these dreams, facing fears, being chased by some of the most hideous creatures. and sitting down in the middle of that dream as instructed by the great King Paimon, taking complete control as a result of sitting down right in front of this creature and commanding that creature because I didn't show any fear toward it. Paimon opened my eyes to so many things. What started to happen as well is I started to change. My person started to change. My demeanor, the way that I carried myself, the way that I dressed, the way that I spoke. Now to where whenever I speak of King Paimon, I will embody all of what he has gifted onto me. All of what he has shown me. I wear it like a suit of armor. And that's how I know when he's here. Because he's always around. I've had experiences where Paimon showed up and completely fried the circuits in my home. Luckily, they still worked. But there was energy that was coming out of the sockets, which was very concerning. There were invisible barriers and force fields over his altar as a result of having his altar in my room, to where things couldn't even be put on it because you could feel the barrier that was there, completely blocking it. This is something that my girlfriend actually experienced and mentioned to me. Paimon teaches you to move deeper into your abilities and utilize the colors of candles. He can deliver perfect gnosis. Paimon is the reason why I was introduced to Naburius, otherwise known as Cerberus. Because Naburius is a part of Paimon's legions. Paimon taught me the usage of specific candle colors from his mind, from his perspective. Using black to delve into the secrets of my shadow, connecting deeper with myself. Black to represent the darkest, most vile acts that you can commit against a person who isn't considered an enemy of yours. Against an enemy. Blue to connect deeper to your psychic abilities, the essence of your energy, and manipulate that energy at will. To command energy, to command spirits, to awaken your clairvoyant ability. To call on to specific energies that connect to the element of water. Working with gold for protection. To release for healing. To cleanse your space, even using it for banishing. Utilizing green for abundance, financial flow, but abundance of any kind of energy that you would want. Abundance in any regard. Using red to magnetize yourself. Or make someone completely infatuated with you. Make someone lust for you, pine for you. Also command someone to kill for you. Open the doorways of the psychological makeup in the practitioner. How to utilize rage and channel that into your workings. Paimon also teaches divination, in-depth divination, with any kind of divinatory tool. Usually when he's working with anyone, he will work with you in depth in your dreams because it's easier for him to manifest. But also, it'll help to not raise so much anxiety as a result of feeling him. He's very powerful and very present when you call on to him. Some people only smell him, some people will hear him, some people will see him, some people will feel him. As you become closer to him, you will experience all of these. He can help to unlock any of these abilities. He can reform your higher self, your astral double, and teach you how to shapeshift into any creature that is living in the other worlds. He can teach you how to perfectly replicate their energy, how to perfectly replicate their look, and to cloak yourself while doing so you're not discovered, so that nothing can attack you. As I've said, he's a powerhouse. Those are just a few of the things that he can do, that he teaches. Paimon can teach some of the most vile magic that you could imagine, if that's something that you were into. He will humble you. Just because you walk with a king and you live like a king, that doesn't mean that you treat everyone else like they are beneath you. Because a king doesn't need to act like that or even say that to show it. Paimon teaches that things are to be shown and not told when it comes to your actions. I think this will suffice for this video. Thank you all for tuning in, and as always, remain sovereign.